But up until this point, I had never really had an actual reason to fire her. She was good enough at her job when she did it, and I could never get the proof I needed to fire her. "No, I heard you," I said as I raised an eyebrow at her, tired of her attitude this morning. "I simply asked what the problem is." When she looked confused, I continued, "As in, what error is it giving you? What is the cash register doing?" She rolled her eyes as she shook her head at me. "I already told you," she snapped as she stood there, growing impatient with me as I grew impatient with her. "The cash register is down. It's not working. How else do I need to spell it out for you?" As much as I hated to say it, the way my right eye twitched forced me to remind myself that nothing was worth my sanity. "Get out," I said as I pointed towards the front door, finally fed up with her behavior. "Just get out and don't come back." Her eyebrows raised as she stared at me, and I could tell she was growing curious about how I was lashing out. "You can't blame me for this," she said as she stared at me in shock and disbelief. "It's not my fault that you picked up a register from a total crackpot. You can't blame your workers when the machines don't work correctly. That's considered workplace misconduct." Rolling my eyes, I shook my head at her, thoroughly sick of how she had been acting as I rose to my feet. "Oh, I'm not firing you because I think that you messed with the register," I told her as I crossed my arms. "However, it wouldn't surprise me if you did, considering how you've treated everybody else. No, I'm firing you for mistreating everybody at work, including myself." Scoffing, she placed a self-entitled hand on her chest. "Well, I never," she said as she took a surprised step back. "How dare you falsely accuse me of mistreating people at work? What kind of person do you think I am?" Completely caught off guard by how stupid she was being, I held up a hand and pressed my index finger to my thumb, counting off her crimes on my hand. "First, you're always delegating the tasks that I tell you to do to your coworkers, bullying them whenever they try to say no," I pointed off as I counted off the first item on my hand. "You also take longer on your breaks and always make excuses. You abuse your power as assistant manager, which I should never have given you in the first place. You're talking back to me and being sarcastic whenever I ask you to tell me what is happening with the cash register." Holding up the 4 fingers I had counted off, I stared her down, daring her to say anything in her defense. "Do I need to go on? Or do you get the picture?" She paused for a moment before shaking her head at me. "You know I have every right to sue, right?" she demanded as she stared at me. "I never did any of that. And the fact that you're falsely accusing me proves that you're just getting rid of me because you have some sort of problem with me. So rather than talking it through, you're retaliating against me." I threw my head back and laughed. I was dying on the inside from how much she was amusing me at this point. "You do realize I have cameras everywhere and several reports that the other workers have filled out complaining about your behavior," I told her when I finally calmed down. Seeing the look of horror on her face, I continued. "Now, I will repeat this. You're fired. Get out of my store and never come back." She opened her mouth to protest in response, but the words quickly left her, causing her to clamp her mouth shut before turning on her heel. With long, quick strides, she made her way towards the front door, a look of fury on her face as she left. I heard the workers start to cheer all around me, and I knew that things would be a lot better from this point on. Making my way to the front of the store, I looked around and was relieved to see that the dining room was empty. After confirming that there were no customers to hear our celebration, I turned to look at my other workers, who were still as loyal as the day I hired them. "Order whatever you want for lunch," I said as I looked at them. "My treat. Just have it delivered to the store. Meanwhile, I'm going to close the store and call somebody about the cash register, since it's clear we won't be able to make any sales anytime soon."